Now keep in mind, Marcus Garvey spoke to over 100,000 people in New York City. They all came to see him speak. And this was in 1920, way before social media or anything like that. He wasn't getting advertised on TV. Noble Drew Ali, he taught his codes and conducts of what he called the Moorish American people in his version of the Holy Quran. And he had thousands of people that followed him. And still to this day, the Moorish Americans and the Moorish Science Temple of America, there are thousands of them. And Noble Drew Ali started his work in the early 1900s, shortly after Marcus Garvey had started his work. And there was two people who was constantly signing into his lessons, learning the 101 questions and answers of Noble Drew Ali. And those two people were Master Fard Muhammad and then Elijah Poole, who would become Elijah Muhammad. Master Fard Muhammad would create the 120 lessons, which was questions and answers for student enrollment into the Nation of Islam. And it kind of had a very similar outline to the 101 questions presented by Noble Drew Ali. But in 1934, Master Fard Muhammad would go missing, never to be found again, which led to Elijah Muhammad becoming the face of the Nation of Islam, which he would be from 1934 until the day he passed away in 1975. The Nation of Islam in the 60s would become very prevalent, and they would reach new heights because Malcolm X was one of the most influential and charismatic people in Black history. And during the same time, Martin Luther King had started these marches in the South, and he was giving these speeches that was moving people across the country. And there were several other civil rights leaders that was coming to the front at this time. But then would come the Black Panthers. Huey Newton out in Oakland, California, he would start the Black Panthers, and this is more grassroots movement of people doing actual work in the community, not just talking. But of course they were saying Huey was too radical and he was just a loose cannon. So then Huey gets locked up. Free Huey was going around the whole country. Everybody wanted Huey Newton free. And during that time, the Black Panthers had spread throughout the country. And in Chicago, we had the young man Fred Hampton rise to prominence. And during that time, it was just amazing to see that Black people, no matter what we did, we were going to get oppressed from the very top in a way where they wouldn't even hide it. And this is why we get the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. Because yeah, they're trying to say that Fred Hampton was basically put down as a Black Messiah in the American government. But he was one of many influential Black people who was put on that list of potential Black Messiahs. And this man was the creator of that list, J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover spent his entire life making sure that Black people was oppressed and never could get ahead. And if anybody was to ever come to a point where they might lead Black people to prominence or out of the position they're in or the way of thinking we are in, he was going to make sure that that person was not important no more by either going to jail, ruining their reputation, or unaliving them. My video started talking about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey started his movement in the 1800s. It reached its peak around 1920. J. Edgar Hoover was the reason why Marcus Garvey got into the situation he was in. All the way back in the 1920s, J. Edgar Hoover was a part of the Black demise with Marcus Garvey. And I hate to say it, but I feel like he accomplished his mission. The thing about Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Master Fard Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Huey Newton, they all led movements where people was doing actual work in the community, not just lip service. We're doing the actual work trying to change Black people's situation and the plight of the Black man. And J. Edgar Hoover's life mission was to extinguish that mission and to make sure it never became anything where we would get out of the situation that we're in. Last time I seen Black people come together for real was the Million Man March. And I was only 1 year old when this happened, in 1995. But 1 million Black people came together and we marched on Washington. And it took for Louis Farrakhan to do it, who was in the Nation of Islam, which was started by Elijah Muhammad. But this right here is the system's biggest fear. They know. If Black people stop just talking all day on TikTok and Instagram or whatever, and actually put the work in, it might be a different day. It's not the same as it used to be.